Okay, y'all asked for it, so I'm going to try to give it to you. So the first thing I would recommend before you dive into messing with anything on the carburetor is you want to make sure you got your timing set correctly. So if you don't know what this is or what this is, and you want to see me make some videos about that, drop it in the comments below. The next thing I would recommend would be have a fuel pressure gauge on the system somewhere. I know a lot of times these things are not accurate, but at least you have some idea what type of fuel pressure you are getting. That way you're not chasing your tail trying to solve an issue when you're not getting the correct fuel pressure from the get-go. And since we already touched on the auto mixture setting on a Holley carburetor, we'll go ahead and speak on that on the Edelbrock. It's really simple. They're right up front. It's only going to be 2 on the Edelbrock. Sometimes on a Holley you might have 4, but on the Edelbrock it's always only going to be 2 right up front. They're easy to get to, and the same rule of thumb applies for those. Most of the time, 1.5 turns out will get you in the ballpark. And what I mean by 1.5 turns out is tighten these screws down, or not tighten them, just snug them down. You don't want to ramrod these home, but barely snug them, and then count the turns out. That's a half turn, 1.5. And these are not going to line up identical as far as the grooves. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, but if they don't line up identical, you set both of them at 1.5 turns out, don't freak out. The threads are just different on them. And the reason you don't want to ramrod these home is because of that tip. You don't want to crank these down so far to where you mushroom that tip out, because then these are basically junk, and you also could damage the threads in the carburetor body itself. So follow this account for more carburetor tuning tips and tricks, and we'll see y'all in the next one.